Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you might need to refresh if you haven't seen this yet. Yeah, if it didn't go live for you, you may need to actually refresh. Actually, I'll put that in the chat. There we go. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Hope you had a fun time talking about the Peterson trial or whatever is going on with that guy. Hopefully, he stays the hell in jail. I mean, can't say I'm too impressed that he was able to get a new hearing on all this stuff. Um, yeah. Hopefully Trish covers that for you and they get a good result. I think it's an insult to the memory of the victim that they get to do this. So, all right, let's get going. Check this out. I haven't heard of anything so freaking horrible ever. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, there we go. Hey guys, how are you? Good to see you. Let's talk about this. I've been sort of putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, but let's get into it. It says Liam Trimmer, WA police officer's tragic death, how a wild engagement party turned into the celebration from hell. It says Liam Trimmer and his wife Lily Watts announced pregnancy at the party. Neighbors say the engagement party was wild and loud. Described the moment they knew something was wrong, and said we'll get into it. It says that neighbors of a police officer who died at his engagement party have revealed the celebration was loud and rowdy until it suddenly ended in blood-curdling screams after 1 a.m. British-born senior constable Liam Trimmer, 29, and his fiancée Lily Watts threw a raucous party at their home in Perth, Western Australia on Sunday night. As well as celebrating their engagement, the couple also announced to loved ones that they were expecting their first child. But the happy moment ended in tragedy when Mr. Trimmer fell over, slashed a carotid artery in his neck, killing him almost instantly. Miss Watts, who is 14 weeks pregnant, told Daily Mail Australia on Wednesday that her fiancé will always be the love of my life and our baby will know the wonderful man he was. Now, neighbors in the small community have recalled being kept awake by the loud music from the party on the night of the tragedy. They said they heard men speaking into a megaphone in the couple's backyard before the woman started to scream in horror as the situation unfolded. One neighbor said, "We don't know what happened, but they were outside and one of the boys got on a megaphone at 1 a.m. The music was loud, then the screams, and then nothing. We heard screams coming from the girls like giant high pitched shrieks. We figured out something might have happened, maybe someone fell or got injured." Another said the music was so loud she considered calling the cops to make a noise complaint. She said, "I'm new to the area, so I didn't want to be a party pooper, but it was close to 1 a.m. on a Monday morning. It sounded like there were more than 50 people there." And it says, the cause of Mr. Trimmer's accident has not been confirmed. Miss Watts is a nurse and guessed that the party were largely compromised police officers and health workers who did everything they could to save his life, but his injuries were too severe. Oh my god, I don't what do you think happened? Like he fell through a table or something? That's what I was thinking. Maybe he like tripped and fell through a glass table or a glass door, like accidentally walked through a glass sliding door. The Watts family were spotted walking their dog in local streets Wednesday, with the young mum to be seen wearing her engagement ring. Earlier that day, Miss Watts' close friend Mel Kelly created a GoFundMe page to raise money for the single mum. The appeal raised more than $110,000 in less than 24 hours. I What a night. So you announced to all your family and friends that you're getting engaged. You announced to them that you're also expecting a child, and then, you know, one of you dies in a tragic accident that the only thing I can sort of equate it with is that movie, um, was it Urban Legend or whatever it's called? What's it called? Urban Not that one. Yeah, Urban Legends, the movie, the one where, like, the death follows them around and they die in all those weird circumstances. That's the only thing I can think of. It's really tragic. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Sean, Bees Are Life was here too. Gambler, Love Lighthouses. Hey, how are you? Wildman's mum and Marlene Clausen. Marlene Clausen said most of those things have tempered glass like a shower door. It does not crack. It does not. It turns into pebble shape. I wonder what it could have been then. The only thing I can think of is like a window or a glass or a bottle. Maybe they were like, you know how people like use a sword or whatever and cut the top off the champagne or whatever, and maybe they cracked the bottle instead. I don't know, but what a what a random event on the biggest night of your life. I mean, I can't imagine what his fiance is thinking or feeling today. I mean, she just must not understand how her life got to this point. She must have been like, well, one minute I was getting married and having a baby, and the next minute I've lost my partner and I'm here by myself. I don't have my partner. I can't imagine. I mean, so this is a photo of the house. I don't see anything like glass back here. That's all wood. This is all wood as well. I don't know. Maybe they were doing like one of those baby, like those baby, what do they call it? Like they do like those explosions or something, and they say the baby's like sex or whatever. Maybe it did something like that because I don't understand how you accidentally cut your own carotid artery. That is very, very odd and very, very bad luck. Poor girl, there she is, Lily Watts, pictured yesterday. I think the people who were at the party know how it happened, but it hasn't been released outside to the public. The public have not said how, like they haven't told the public how it happened. Um, Let me have a look. Liam Trimmer. Let me see if I can find out some more information. Let's see, anything on Twitter? Just people saying it was a tragic accident and that, you know, they just moved here from the UK expecting to start a brand new life. Let's see. No, I don't see anything. Just that, let's check the New York Post. Maybe the New York Post has something. There's the photos that we saw before. Uh-huh. It says Senior Constable Liam Trimmer and his fiancée, a nurse, threw a party at their Western Australian home Sunday to announce their upcoming nuptials, but he slipped and fell during the joyous occasion. Somehow he cut his neck and died of injuries in the mishap. You gotta think he maybe had bottles or some sort of glass or metal, a tray, like a serving tray. Those are quite sharp if you landed on it incorrectly, or a pair of scissors. I'll tell you something. Do you guys want to know a story that's sort of like this? When I was young, when I was a teenager, I lived in a housing estate and I used to ride around on my bike with the kids, right? Other kids. And there was this little young kid that used to come with us and he used to play with us. And I think he used to look up to all the bigger boys in the group. And one day we were riding and he crashed his bike. Like he just hit something and then toppled over. And he started screaming. And we were like, why are you screaming? And we went over to him. In the crash, the brake calipers, the things you use to brake on a bike, His handlebars had turned, and as he fell, it went through his neck. The little brake handle, it went straight through his neck, and he had a brake handle inside of his neck. And he's so lucky that it didn't hit his carotid artery. It went just next to it, and he literally had to stay still for like 40 minutes while the ambulance came. But then, while the ambulance had to cut it out of his neck, they had to like undo the entire bike and then just cut the brake line. And they basically held it in place and wrapped it around his neck until he could get to hospital, and they surgically removed it. It was one of the most scariest things I've ever seen, and there was absolutely just, unfortunately, blood everywhere. That poor kid, I don't think he ever probably rode a bike again in his life. So, I'm sure that, these type of things do happen, unfortunately. Wildman's mom said, "I knew a lady from when I was married to a Navy man. She was a wife of his coworker. She walked through a sliding glass door, not a mark on her." I've seen people do that before, that they've walked through sliding glass doors and they've cracked and shattered and they've been fine. Or I've seen other ones where they've ended up with a broken nose. This account said, "Forgot to hit like." Yeah, we just got started. Oh, I don't know. I don't know who that is. I'm not sure. Not sure who the country singer was. But, yeah, so these type of things can happen. It's just so unfortunate for that girl and, the family and stuff like that. How horrible. Could have fallen any other day in any other direction and would have been fine. Falls this time, just the wrong angle, and he died. How very sad. Here you go, there's a photo of him, Liam Trimmer, an extraordinary officer who loved helping his community. Awful, really awful. But some people messaged me asking me if I was going to talk about it, so there's your talk on it. Let's see what else we have. I wanted to talk a little bit about Piranelli, if I can find this new update from her. Where is this update from Piranelli? Uh huh. Carly Piranelli here. So here, you guys remember this one? This is from the other day. Um, this was a young girl, a daughter, who killed her own mother, Joanne Perry, and the cops ended up shooting her daughter, Carly. It says here, Carly murdered her mother, Joanne, on Friday, February 8th, during what is believed now to be a psychotic episode. The deeply disturbed woman was shot by police as she continued to stab her 56-year-old mother in the neck and chest at her Lower Plenty home. Miss Perry has been no stranger to the perils of mental illness and worked for years as an outreach worker at organizations such as Anglicare and Berry Street. While concerned neighbors told Daily Mail Australia Piranelli's family had desperately sought to have her committed to a psychiatric facility, the troubled woman sought solace in psychics and mediums. That's a great way of doing it. In January 2023, a little more than a year before her deadly attack, Piranelli put out a call on social media for more information on clairvoyance in Bali. She'd been planning a trip for months, and her post asking for information on the Facebook page Bali Bogans was largely met with ridicule about her spelling and the pitfalls of psychics. She wrote, "Pretty poor comments from some. Everyone has their own beliefs, and that's that," she said. "I believe in psychics and am looking for a reading. Yes, anyone who doesn't believe in this can all can take all the piss they like." Piranelli is believed to have traveled to a restaurant in Seminyak to meet with a psychic named Stephanie. The young woman appeared to be in good spirits during her Bali escape, with friends posting her recommendations to the same Facebook page about local drivers and other providers. "Highly recommended, best massage I've had in Bali, beautiful ladies and treatment," she posted on the same day as her psychic call out. Months earlier, Piranelli hit the page in an effort to help her mother find accommodation in the popular tourist spot. So apparently she liked to go to Bali and get spiritual, I guess, advice. And it says here, but Piranelli's life began to spiral out of control not long after her return home from Bali. Police charged her over an alleged home invasion on February 21st. While the charge was eventually dropped in August after the prosecution withdrew its case, the ordeal caused Piranelli great distress. Speaking after the tragedy, neighbors told Daily Mail Piranelli's mental health took a deep dive in the months that followed her court hearings. Well, you shouldn't have broken into someone's house then, should you? Shouldn't have gone there and tried to kill someone. One neighbor claimed Miss Perry had feared her wayward daughter before her death. The neighbor who shared close connections to the family said Piranelli's worried mother fought in vain to have her committed to a psychiatric ward. The woman who asked not to be identified said she had almost called the police in the weeks leading up to Friday night's tragedy. She said, I've heard in weeks past a lot of domestics going on. They were always shouting. I could hear a man's voice sometimes too. Once or twice I wanted to call the police, but I didn't know exactly where it was coming from. The neighbor claimed others living in the vicinity of the home had called the cops about their concerns. Apparently, it's been reported numerous times there's mental health issues with the daughter, so it's really very sad. There's a photo of her and her mum. The neighbors claimed she had heard a person she believed to be Piranelli make repeated threats to her mother. I'd heard threats before, that's why I was going to call the police. Some of those threats included threats to set people alight. I'd heard the fire thing before. It sounded really threatening. It's understood Piranelli's family had desperately tried to obtain help for her, but struggled to get any assistance. She had major mental health problems and that they had been trying to get her into a facility. She's been manic or psychotic over the past few weeks and had been trying to get her committed. It's so hard to have people committed, and now she's dead too. It's all very sad. A lot of the time, these people are just on their own. It's pretty scary. So it sounds like they did try and commit her to a facility, and that it reminds me very much of that other one, the girl who killed her mother and cut off her head. Very similar. I don't know what the attraction to fire is. I've heard this in numerous people who have psychiatric illness. They're really attracted to fire, and I don't know why, either fire or knives. And I'm not sure what the link there is, but you can see that she threatened to set her mum alight many times. And on Friday, that's what she was trying to do when the cops pulled up. She was trying to set her mum alight while also stabbing her. So, Final Destination, not Urban Legend. Yes, thank you. Final Destination. That's it. Urban Legend was a different movie, although not too bad. Uh, Interesting about Carrie Underwood. God called him home. Apparently so, which is, I guess, one way of looking at it. Hey, I just want to shout out someone who leaves messages for me in my replay. It's Smokey 007. I appreciate it. Or is that Amy? Because Amy Amy AMY, because she has 007 on her name a lot too. Maybe it's a different one. I also wanted to say hello to another creator called Excited Utterance AU. Left a message on my video from yesterday's Late Late show, just saying she is going to do the Carly. I'm losing names now. Yes, Carly Piranelli story as well. Apparently, she's interested in doing it for her channel. So, pretty cool. Thank you for leaving a message on my page, and nice to meet you as well. All right. Yeah, so if I get more on Carly, I'll let you know. But what a horrible tragedy. Both mum and daughter gone. Family left to pick up the pieces, and they'll maybe never truly know why or what set her off to that point that she killed her mum. You know, how horrible. All right, where is my story? Da, da, da. City of Alabama. Oh, actually, let's listen to this. I didn't even hear this. 1 hour ago, homicide investigation in the 1100 block of Cotton Avenue. All right, breaking news. Let's listen to this.
Right now, the Birmingham Police Department is on the scene of a homicide in the 1100 block of Cotton Avenue Southwest. At approximately 7:44 p.m., West Precinct officers were responding to a call of a person shot. When officers arrived on the scene, they entered a residence. Upon entry into that residence, they observed the victim lying unresponsive, suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. Birmingham Fire and Rescue Services arrived on the scene and pronounced the victim deceased. The preliminary investigation suggests family was gathered for a barbecue. The suspect, who was also attending the barbecue, became angry, firing shots, striking the victim. The suspect left the scene. There is no one in custody. If there is anyone who has any information about this case, please give us a call at 205.
Sorry, did you guys catch all of that? Something about a family barbecue and then a shooting? Is that what they said? Hold on.
Southwest. At approximately 7:44 p.m., West Precinct officers were responding to a call of a person shot. When officers arrived on the scene, they entered a residence. Upon entry into that residence, they observed the victim lying unresponsive, suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. Birmingham Fire and Rescue Services arrived on the scene and pronounced the victim deceased. The preliminary investigation suggests family was gathered for a barbecue. The suspect, who was also attending the barbecue, became angry, firing shots, striking the victim.
Alright, that's odd. Hold on, I have a news story for this. Here. Homicide investigation in Birmingham after man shot at family barbecue. Look at that. Police tape. Birmingham Police Department is investigating a homicide after they say a man was shot at a family barbecue Wednesday evening. Police were called to the 1100 block of Cotton Avenue around 7:45 p.m. to investigate reports that someone was shot. They said when Birmingham Fire and Rescue were called to the scene, they pronounced the victim dead. Authorities say their investigation shows the victim was at a family barbecue when a suspect got angry and shot the man. The suspect fled the scene and is not in custody. Police are searching the area for the suspect. Police say this was a targeted incident and believe there is no danger to the community. We're told the other people at the barbecue are cooperating with police. Hmm. Interesting. No photo, no name, but they're all at a family barbecue together. But they don't want to tell us any other details. Kathy says, "We Tennesseans don't talk about Alabama football rivals. Do you have things like that, Ping?" Yes, all over the country. New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, New South Wales, West Coast, East Coast, all over the place. All different ones. Hold on. Oh, thanks, Roy. Not Roy. Person. Thanks, person. Uh, So this person asked me, have I heard that Sebastian was supposed to be going to live with his father at the end of the school year? I was wondering if you heard this somewhere. Yeah, I heard this in a news report. I'm pretty sure this was also repeated by that news anchor. I can't remember what his name is, but the guy who's been doing live shows on his Facebook, he's mentioned it before too. That Sebastian was going to go live with his dad at the end of the school year. So, yeah, I have heard that. I don't know where it came from or like if it's verifiable, but it has been bandied about by different places. Um, Wildman's mum says, "Why is it every time someone gets angry, a gun is involved? Don't understand why that's the first thing that they think of." Yeah, I think it gives them power to some people. Some people are like they can't deal with anything without being the person in the top power dynamic, and by having that is by having a gun. Yeah. Yes. Kathy said about the first story we read, maybe the guy was carrying champagne flutes and fell on them. Could have been. I mean, that makes sense too, that he fell on a whole thing of glasses or something. How horrible. Yeah, this is interesting. The murder in Birmingham. Yeah, a shame that we don't have any more information, but that's not the story I was telling you about in Alabama. It was a completely different story. Wow, how many homicides do they have? Homicide in the 100 block of First Avenue. Homicide in the 2300 block of 7th Way. You guys have a few homicides. I'm trying to find something. Hold on. Where is their media? Here.
Members of our sound good for everyone? Hello, everyone. I'm Officer Truman Fitzgerald of the Birmingham Police Department's Public Information Division. Joining me tonight for this press conference is BPD Police Chief Scott Thurman, along with Deputy Police Chief of the Detective Bureau, Sheila Finney, and members of our homicide team who work hard each and every day to bring justice like this case we're announcing tonight. Tonight you will hear from BPD Police Chief Scott Thurman about an update in the Mahogany Jackson homicide investigation. And at this time, Chief Scott Thurman.
So good evening. The Birmingham Police Department announces 7 arrests have been made in the Mahogany Jackson homicide investigation. On Sunday, February 25th, 2024, the Birmingham Police Department officers began investigating the missing persons case of 20-year-old Mahogany Jackson. Mahogany sent a text message to a family member that she had been kidnapped. Early the following day, officers and detectives discovered Mahogany's body in the 1700 block of Laurel Avenue. Investigators determined that she had been shot. With assistance from the community, detectives were not only able to locate Mahogany Jackson's body, but detectives took 7 suspects responsible for Mahogany's murder into custody within 48 hours of this investigation. On Wednesday, February 28, 2024, detectives were able to obtain arrest warrants for the following suspects. Giovanni Clapp, black female, 23 years of age. She is charged with felony murder, kidnapping first degree, sodomy first degree, and assault second with injury. Blair Green, black male, 25 years of age of Birmingham, is charged with felony murder, kidnapping first degree, and sodomy first degree. Tasia Lewis, black female, 25 years of age of Birmingham, is charged with felony murder, assault second, injury with a weapon. Francis Harris, black male, 25 years of age of Birmingham, Alabama, is charged with capital murder, sodomy first degree, capital murder, and kidnapping first. Sanaya McCall, black female, 23 years of age of Bessemer, Alabama, is charged with felony murder, kidnapping first, and sodomy first. Jeremiah McDowell, black male, 18 years of age of Bessemer, Alabama, is charged with capital murder, sodomy first, and capital murder with kidnapping first. Brandon Pope, black male, 24 years of age of Birmingham, Alabama, is charged with capital murder, kidnapping first, and capital murder with sodomy first. The facts of this case are deplorable and sickening. Saddest of all, they were made public by the suspect's decision to videotape portions of this horrific act. We hope to shield Mahogany's family and friends by withholding specific facts surrounding the investigation. However, we have determined that Mahogany was a victim of sexual assault with murder and kidnapping. Recently, Mayor Randall Woodfin and the Birmingham Police
All right, there's the charges and the people involved. All right, now I'm going to show you the update from today. Share this tab. It says Alabama mother Mahogany Jackson was found shot in the back of the head on February 26 by the side of the road in a remote area of Birmingham, Alabama, hours after she texted her mother saying she had been kidnapped and asking for help. Now, 6 of the 8 suspects charged in connection to the kidnapping, sexual assault, and murder of the 20-year-old Jackson appeared in court Wednesday morning for a preliminary hearing. The facts of this case are deplorable and sickening. Saddest of all, they were made public by the suspect's decision to videotape portions of this horrific act. BPD Chief Scott Thurmond said during a press conference on February 28th, announcing the arrest of several suspects, "We have to shield Mahogany's family and friends from withholding specific facts surrounding the investigation. However, we have determined that Mahogany was a victim of sexual assault with murder and kidnapping." Police announced on February 28th the 7 suspects were charged, yes. But according to WBMA, Pope and McDowell's capital murder charges on the basis of R-word and S-word were dismissed during the preliminary hearing on Wednesday. While this is a terrible incident, my client maintains his innocence. That was McDowell's attorney. And the other one adding that the dismissal of those charges against his client shows that the state was overcharging. So 2 people were let off. Giovanni Blair Sinaya were charged with felony murder, first-degree kidnap, first-degree S-word, and Tasia Lewis, 26, was charged with felony murder. Lewis and Clapp were also initially charged with second-degree assault, but Clapp's assault charge was reduced from second-degree to third-degree on Wednesday. The 8th suspect, Ariana Robinson, 23, was charged with felony murder kidnap. According to police, she was present at the hearing on Wednesday, but her case was bound over by another judge. During a March 4th bond hearing, the 5 additional suspects were denied bond. ABC's News has reached out to the attorneys representing each of the suspects. They declined to comment. Other ones didn't get back to them in time for publication. Thurmond said the suspects in this case were not strangers, were all acquainted with each other. He also said that Jackson was acquainted with the suspects. There's Ariana Robinson. She got done with murder, kidnap. Thurmond thanked the public for sharing information that helped lead to arrests in the case. He said, "You answered the call. This case highlights the strength and effectiveness of the partnership between Birmingham Police and our community." So it's a bit of a mess, actually. Some people had their charges reduced. Some of them had them thrown out altogether. So 2 of them are not going to face the murder charges at all. But I suspect they'll be recharged with lesser offenses in the coming days, I'm guessing. It says here, Fitzgerald BPD detectives learned during the investigation that the alleged kidnappers found out that Jackson used her phone after she texted her mother and threatened her to reveal her passcode so they could unlock the phone. Jackson could have presumably been moved to a different location before police arrived on the scene. Police went to that apartment right away and began searching immediately. They searched the apartment where she supposedly was. They searched the complex. They spoke to witnesses, but by the time they got there, Jackson was gone. So they're saying that basically by the time they were alerted to where she was and how much danger she was in, they had already moved her to a different location. One of the suspects told her if she gave her the password, they would allow her to live. According to police, a witness who is not involved in the incident found Jackson's body at around 2:19 a.m. on the side of the road at 17th Street Southwest and Laurel Avenue. Fitzgerald said that Jackson's body was found in a kind of isolated area near a residential neighborhood and about 2.5 miles away from the apartment that Jackson had indicated she was being held in the text message to her mother. Awful, really awful case. All these people went out to basically sexually assault and hurt this person who she thought were her friends. She literally thought all these people were friends of hers, and they were not. They were only there to take advantage and eventually murder her. So we're going to keep an eye on this trial. We've spoken about it before. Very interesting development with two of them having their charges dropped. That's very annoying. But maybe there's a good reason for that. They haven't released that reason yet. I would like to know. Maybe they just charged everyone that was there that day. Let's have a look. 4 hours ago, new details. All right.
6 of the 8 defendants in the murder and kidnapping of 20-year-old Mahogany Jackson appeared in court today in Birmingham for a preliminary hearing. Prosecutors displayed still images from videos taken while Jackson was held against her will. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson was in the courtroom today. And Gracie, some of the defendants' charges were reduced and even dropped.
Muriel, based on testimony and evidence that was presented during the preliminary hearing, Judge William Bell found probable cause for the defendants to be bound over for grand jury consideration. But like you said, some of the charges were reduced. Brandon Pope, Jeremiah McDowell, Francis Harris, Tasia Lewis, Giovanni Clapp, and Ariana Robinson were all in court Wednesday for the preliminary hearing. The prosecution presented graphic screenshots from videos. All of these were taken while Mahogany Jackson was held against her will before she was murdered. The photos depicted Mahogany being slapped, punched, stripped nude, and forced to perform sexual acts while held at gunpoint. Jefferson County District Attorney Danny Carr discussed the nature of the videos.
Sheer brutality, the barbaric nature of it. You can't substitute that by just still photos.
There are 8 videos total, initially brought forward to law enforcement by an acquaintance who was able to provide copies of some of the videos and direct investigators to Jackson's body. Investigators discovered 3 additional videos late Tuesday night. All 8 of the defendants are seen in a portion of at least one of the videos. Pope, McDowell, and Harris were initially charged with 2 counts each of capital murder. Pope and McDowell's capital murder charge on the basis of rape and sodomy were dropped. Harris's 2 counts of capital murder both carried over. Lewis and Clapp were each charged with single felony murder charges and assault in the 2nd degree. Clapp's assault charge was reduced to 3rd degree assault, which is a misdemeanor. Lewis's assault charge was bound over. Robinson was present in court today, yet her felony murder charge was bound over by another judge. Now, while some of the charges today were dropped or reduced, Judge Bell said that he made it clear that these charges can be brought back at any time by a grand jury. Live in Birmingham, Gracie Johnson, ABC 3340 News.
There you go. That explained it a little bit better. But yeah, they videoed a lot of their crimes. How very stupid of them. And they actually uploaded them online too. You can't teach criminals to be clever, but at least that means they were able to find out the truth of what happened to Mahogany Jackson. Otherwise, maybe they would never have found out, and she would have been another victim on the side of the road that would have ended up in a CODIS database somewhere waiting for a match. Maybe we would never know. No, not the sharpest tools in the shed. Not at all. Okay, that's the update for that one. Let me see if I can find you the next one. I don't know this one. I'm going to show you one that I've never heard of before. From Detroit. From Detroit? Yeah. Hold on. I don't know if any of you know this one. Is it Julia Niswender? 10 years after killing seeks justice. 10 years after Julia, a 23-year-old student at Eastern Michigan University, was killed in her off-campus apartment, her family is still looking for answers and pushing for justice. Her twin sister Jennifer and her mother Kim remain active in keeping the case alive. They said they're frustrated with how the police department have handled the case and would like to see it transferred to Michigan State Police. Who said, "We need to get answers. It's been 10 very long years, and it's just been so long. She deserves justice, and we deserve answers." Hold on. I'm going to get, because I've never heard of this. Someone sent it to me. Let me see if I can find like a little video we can watch about it. Maybe this one? Come on, little video. Why are you just giving me little boxes? Oh, are you going to do that thing where you're not going to give it to me because I'm Australian? All right, fine. We'll go to somewhere else. Let's see. All right.
Well, now to an unsolved mystery. This
There
weekend
we go.
marks 10 long years since the murder of Julia Neiswender.
The Eastern Michigan University student was killed in her off-campus apartment. Tonight, her family is pushing for a different police agency to take the case.
7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig has their decade-long fight for justice.
We're just frustrated and they need to hand it over. This is too big for them.
Jennifer Neiswender is talking about Ypsilanti police and her twin sister Julia's unsolved murder, a case the family wishes Michigan State Police would take over.
They need to turn this case over to the state police. They should have already have done that.
Julia lived on the ground floor of the Peninsula Place apartments here, and on December 11th, 2012, Ypsilanti police found her face down in her bathtub.
From what I was told is that she was suffocated and then placed in the bathtub, and the water helped continue to fill her lungs.
The manner in which she was placed in the bathtub was definitely not consistent with somebody just getting in and taking a bath.
Now retired Ypsilanti Police Detective Joe Uhas was the original lead detective in Julia's murder, and he says there is some DNA on file, but so far it has not been connected to anyone. In 2015, Julia's stepdad was named a person of interest. Loved ones say police were grasping at straws and driving down dead ends.
I remember when polygraph was over, they took Jim out of the room and the polygraph administrator said, "Yeah, that's probably not your killer."
A man's life was ruined because of false allegations against his daughter, not stepdaughter, his daughter.
Julia's family now being assisted by Lindsay Turner, a victim advocate for Can't Stop, Won't Stop. She helped fight for justice in her sister-in-law's murder.
So much of her story was similar to a situation that our family had been through, and I just can't imagine being in the position that they're in 10 years is way too long.
Madison was just 10 when her sister Julia was murdered.
Julia was a loving and kind person and sweet. She meant the world to me.
At 10 years old, it was truly a feeling you can't describe. Now, looking back on it, I had a lot of anger back then. I still have it now due to what has been going on within the misjustices of the system.
We reached out to Ypsilanti Police today, but have not heard back. If you have any information in Julia's case, call Crime Stoppers and you will remain anonymous.
There is a reward out for Julia. Please just help us, help Julia. She deserves this more than anybody. She's the one who had to suffer and spend that day with that monster.
In Ypsilanti, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
Terrible. I can't say I'd ever heard of it before. And I just never. Hold on. Yeah, this is not one I've ever seen before. And I know a lot of true crime, I just don't know this one. Julian. Yeah, this apparently there was a woman on Reddit who said that it was in her apartment building. Someone who listened to Case File said that the murder occurred in her apartment building back in 2012. And they said their suspected motive has changed. That maybe, yeah, that apparently her family's still looking for justice. How horrible. Did they ever do a show on this? Let's have a look. Investigation Discovery. An autopsy determined that she died of strangulation and was found dead in her off-campus apartment bathtub. I can't say I've ever heard of this one, but thanks for sending it in. I wish I had more to add to it, I just don't know anything about it. Trying to look for an update that's a bit newer. Looks like the last big update was 2022 around December, around 10 years after her body was found. That looks like that was the last big update. But this is the original story here from Daily Mail. University student found murdered in apartment near campus after she didn't show up for Christmas party. Eastern Michigan University student Julia was found dead in her bedroom on Tuesday night. Roommate called police after she hadn't been seen for days. Police uncovered suspicious evidence near her body. What kind of suspicious evidence? They're saying that officers arrived, called paramedics, but she was pronounced dead at the scene. They said, adding that the evidence found in her apartment led to unanswered questions. Apparently, an autopsy was performed on Wednesday in 2012, but EMU Police Chief Robert Hughes said it could be days before a cause of death was known. I think they found out she was asphyxiated, so she could have been strangled. Wow, I'll have to look more into this and see if I can do some more research. I don't know how this one slipped by me without ever knowing about it. I'm glad you all knew in the chat, because I'd never heard of it. They're saying here that police collected DNA at the scene, but they have yet to find a match that would crack the cold case. Let's see. Her mum just says, she's still angry. So it says here, she was found face down, partially nude. Her phone was thrown in the bathtub. Her pants were cut off. And she was bound at the wrists and ankles, and there was 2 male DNA found. 2. That's interesting. Investigators told the family they believe Julia had been tied up with the rope she'd left hanging on the bathroom door. Did she know that was her last moments in life? Her mum asked. What was Julia thinking? She had to be so scared. Her apartment had been ransacked, but there was no forced entry, police said. Her computer, wallet, and purse were not taken. The only items missing were her pillowcase and dresser drawer. As a parent, you want to protect your children, she said. I felt like I should have been there to protect her. Wow. Let's see. No, you're going to give me the blue boxes? Thanks for that. I think it's geo-blocked. Must be the same article or same company. That's a real... You would have thought, being that there was 2 male DNA, that they would have been able to find a person. That's scary. 10 years, no answers, and they're still waiting on something. It doesn't say. I'm going to research it tonight, and we can talk about this one tomorrow during the 9 p.m. show. Someone just emailed it to me during this show, and I was like, yeah, all right, we'll have a look, but I don't actually know a lot about it. That's right, the suspect list. She'd not been heard from in a few days. Yes, I believe that's what it said. Where is it? She'd not been seen in a few days. Let me see. Just that they hadn't seen her for a number of days. It doesn't say how many. They should have been able to find out, like, when she was last visibly seen. I'm trying to see if there is. So how long could she have been? Hold on. Let me see if I can find, like, more solid information for it. It's crazy. There's not a lot of links for this murder. It seems to be, like, hyper local.
As a family, we're left with a whole bunch of questions that we're not getting any help getting the answers.
Jim Neiswender is frustrated. He's been waiting 9.5 years for answers about who murdered his granddaughter. Julia Neiswender was murdered in December of 2012 in her off-campus apartment near Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti. The last time anyone heard from Julia was the evening of December 9th. Police reports indicate nearly 2 days went by and no one saw her. Her roommates came.
Okay, so like two, almost 3 days. I can't keep playing it because of that background noise, that dung 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 dung. It's probably copyrighted, which means we'll get owned for using it. But yes, let me research a bit more into this. It says, according to police documents, her roommates were gone for the weekend. When one returned Sunday night, she went to bed. The next morning, she heard Julia's alarm going off but didn't think anything of it. The next day, it was the same thing. A roommate also noticed there was no communication and Julia's car was parked in the same spot for multiple days. A hard thing to do when you live in a busy apartment complex. On December 11th, 2012, police did a wellness check and someone from the apartment complex used a master key to unlock Julia's bedroom door. Police said she was found in her bathroom, partially clothed, dead in the bathtub. The tub was filled with water and part of her clothing had been cut off. Her death was ruled a homicide. Police documents indicate Julia's room was ransacked. There was no signs of forced entry, but her apartment keys were missing from her lanyard. So they could lock her bedroom door and the front door when they left. It leads you to believe she knew this person. Police processed the scene, took away items for evidence, and conducted interviews. Julia's stepfather, James, was considered a person of interest at one point in the investigation, according to police documents, but he has never been charged. He took 2 polygraph tests and denied any involvement. 13 ABC reached out to the police multiple times for an update on the case. They acknowledged the request but never provided an update or comment on the case. Nearly a decade later, the crime remains unsolved, and the person responsible could be walking free. Her father is frustrated as he helped raise Julia and said he is sick of waiting for movement on the case. He contacts the police department for updates, but they are few and far between, and most recently, there's been no communication. And that's why the family wants it moved to the Michigan police, because they want a bigger police department working on it. That's why. That one said roommates. So what are these people? Yeah. Seems solvable, but you're going to have to find out more people that were around. That's right. Who had access to the keys? I tell you what. Tomorrow night we'll go through the case from nuts to soup, and I'll go from the beginning to the end of what we know. But I'll need time to actually research and find all the little bits of information. It'll take me like overnight to write the show, so hold on. I can do that, and we can do that tomorrow night. That'll be a good show. So we'll get through the updates tomorrow night, and then the second half of the show we'll do Julia's case. We'll explain everything, all the DNA, all the updates in 10 years, everything. Because that way I can actually find the info I need and dig it up from different places. All right. What else happened today? Let me have a quick look for Riley. Let me see if I can find anything about Riley. Anything new? Okay. Anything in the last couple of hours? Seems like there is some speculation going around about Riley and a t-shirt, but I can't verify it. Some people are saying something about his clothing ended up in a bizarre place. People are asking, what were his friends doing for 16 hours when he wasn't with them? And why did it take so long for them to call in? True. It's not, they're saying it's not much of a brotherhood if it took 16 hours for them to actually notice that he was gone. Yeah, I gotta agree. They said here, the use of language is interesting. When the friend calls 911, he says things like, they were kicked out of a bar, as in all of them. Like, why wouldn't he say he was kicked out of a bar if it was just Riley? The friend said he lost sight of him after they got kicked out and began looking for him. He wasn't that far away, though. Interesting. They're from the Delta Chi or Delta Chi. I don't know how to pronounce that. Fraternity brothers. Okay. The next morning, one of Strain's Delta fraternity brothers reported him missing. The next morning, see, there's some sort of like weird discrepancy between when he was reported missing, and some sources say it was early in the morning, some say it was the next day. The 911 system recorded it as 16:14 or something, so or 13:16, sorry. Got it mixed around. They said it was like 1 o'clock the next day or something, 2 o'clock the next day. So I don't think the 911 system lies. Actually, here you can kind of see them searching the river. Here, I'll show you. This is the boat they're using to look for Riley. In that river, he would have surfaced by now, right? That's what I would have thought, that he would have popped up by now if he really was in there. Let me see if I can find anything else for you. Let's see. I don't see any new information. Missing student Riley Strain seen stumbling on surveillance video night he went missing. Yeah, we've seen that. Detectives today continue to pursue tips and investigate leads concerning missing person Riley Strain. Strain, wearing a two-tone shirt, is seen in this video crossing First Avenue North to Gay Street at 9:47 p.m. They said his phone finished pinging like 10:30. So this is so close to the water. Look, it's like a 2-second walk down to that water edge. Where was he for 40 minutes? because they say the last time his phone pinged is just after he left this area, just after he got through this intersection, after he spoke to that couple. He leaves here. That's where the bridge is. It's only around the corner. Maybe another 5 minutes, not even. So what was his phone and him doing for another 35, 40 minutes? Was he just sitting there at the edge of the river? Doesn't make sense. Just trying to see if there's more information on here. Apparently, his parents have visited every emergency room in Nashville. No one had anything by his name in there, and of course, they wouldn't tell us if they had anyone that matched the description. Yeah, nothing. How horrible. Hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to get Riley back. That's what I reckon. Or today for you guys, today. We're going to get Riley back. Yeah, he should have gone left and he turned right outside of the bar and then went down to the river instead of going back to his Hilton hotel. He fell really hard not long prior. Yeah, he did. He tripped. We've watched that footage. And looked to hit his head. Yeah, he sort of touches his head a couple of times. Oh, so you might have just walked straight out into the water without realizing that it's like a river, a fast-moving river too. I hope it's tomorrow, everyone. I really do. All right, I think we're going to pack down for the night, and then we're going to be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern for another set of Nights with Ping for a Thursday night. That'll be a great show. We're going to do a late show tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, we're going to do all the updates for the first part of the show. And then the second part of the show is going to be on Julia. We'll try and do an entire case on Julia. On this lady, Julia. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. Have a great sleep. Do what you got to do on Thursday during the day and come back for 9 p.m. Okay? 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you get back here and I'll see you then, okay? See you later, everyone. Have a good night. Bye-bye.